Good evening, my beautiful ladies. So happy to have you all here with us, both in person as well as our Zoom family. Thank you for joining us and thank you for being with us till now. We did Brachot party, Baruch Hashem, and now we're on recorded line. Our class is sponsored and dedicated. Just give me just 1 second. I'm going to read out the dedications. לעילוי נשמת אברהם בן תמרה, רפואה שלמה גבריאל בן אמא שלום, אסתר בת תמרה, זיווג שלמה בן תמרה, שרה בת רגינה רחל אסתר. And also לעילוי נשמת אליהו בן חוסני רבקה. Give me just a second. Also, the class is sponsored by Anonymous and dedicated for לעילוי נשמת לאליזה בת חוסני, יוסף בן חוסני, אברהם בן תמרה, for פרנסה ריבי רומא בן יוסף חי, בנימין בן ריבי רומא, אמה שלום בת דורה דבורה, טובה ג'ניפר בת אמה שלום, זיווג עמנואל הכהן בן בלה, רנה בת לאליזה, רחל בת לאליזה, רחל בת יפה שינה אסתר, טובה ג'ניפר בת אמה שלום, שלמה בן תמרה, שרה בת רגינה רחל אסתר, רפואה שלמה דורה דבורה בת קסיו, חיים דוד בן פניר, גבריאל בן אמא שלום, אסתר בת תמרה, אירינה בת פרידה. Yes, רפואה שלמה, אירינה בת פרידה, נכון. Brachot is sponsored by Sarachka Fuzailov. May Kadosh Baruch Hu bless our Sarachka that her zivug should find her bakarov. The right one. רפואה שלמה מרדכי בן קדם, רב משה בן אסתר, דניאל בן רחל, רחל ליאורה בת מרגריטה מזל, ישראל בן רחל ליאורה, שלמה בן רחל ליאורה, הנה ג'נט בת מרגריטה מזל, אביבה בת חנה ג'נט, אנג'לה בלור בת אלה ליאור, רחל בת אנג'לה בלור, ליאת בת אנג'לה מלכה, דניאל שלום בן ליאת, לודה לאה בת רוזה, עדי זוי, צינוק בן לודה לאה, לריסה בת ברנו ברוניה, אפרים איציק בן אליזה ליאו, ברנו ברוניה בת עדינו, דוד בן אסתם, סוניה בת ריבה. לעילוי רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. לעילוי נשמת ליז ליאו בת חוסני, פניה בת סוניה שרה סופה בת טויבה ומיכאל הכהן, באורח פרשן שלום, מרדכי בן מלור, עדין אנג'לה בת אולצ'פרה, ליז ליאו בת ברטה. Also for לעילוי נשמת, my father-in-law, it's his yortzeit also, it's 21 years, wow. יעקב בן מזל, לעילוי נשמת. לעילוי נשמת ושושורה בת חוסני, ספנצפור חיה בת שרה, שרה בת חוסני, עמוניאל בן חוסני, חוסני בת מרית, מלוסקי בן יוחנן, לעילוי נשמת רבי זכריה שמן וולר סמל יצחק כהן, דוקטור זילנקה ולבל וולף זאב בן לאה, רב חיים קניבסקי, לעילוי נשמת כפיר בן שירי, אריאל בן שירי, שירי בת שרה, שרה אימנו, ורפואה שלמה חנה ברכה בת ספנצפור חיה, אברהם דוד בן נחמה. And whoever I said, I didn't say let it be for the zechut of Leilu Nishmat, all the people who got killed on October 7 before and after. May their pure holy nishamot be elevated up in the Shemayim. And also whoever is sick should have a refuah shalem, and whoever is not married should get married. Whoever is trying to have a baby should be blessed with gorgeous, beautiful children, including Nathaniel Abigail bat Zoya, Ronit bat Belabracha, Malka bat Esther, Margarita, Maya Mazal bat Riva, Shoshana Rina bat Dora, El Rachel bat Laura Larissa. Whoever I said, I didn't say they should be all included. May there be Parnasat Tova, Shalom Bayit, Briut, everything amazing for the entire Klal Yisrael. All the houses should return home immediately, alive and healthy and sound and well. Let me just put it in a way that. Okay, we continue with learning the secret to Simcha. I actually started, even though we're new to this booklet. And I was preparing. I actually like this booklet because it puts your mind in the right perspective. we can understand. It's very short, but it's sweet and short. Day 5. The Yetzer Hara against positive thoughts. The Yetzer Hara is well aware that when we think good of others, we will acquire inner peace and we will be zoche to arrive at the lofty and radiant road of Rachamim, where brachos and goodness are found. Therefore, he tries with all his strength to prevent this. He will remind us thousands of times a day about the misdeed that the person did against us, and we'll experience renewed feelings of anger toward that person and pain for the loss that he caused. But let us draw strength and remember that now Hashem is presenting us with a golden opportunity to purify our hearts and elevate our midos. And through this, we can be zoche to the wondrous gift that the Shekhinah will rest upon us. As we say in the Tefillah, Matai escha shetisra Shekhinah al roshi. When will I be zoche to have Shekhinah to rest on my head? Let us strengthen ourselves against the Yetzer Hara and retort, my precious mind is too holy for such thoughts. I don't want to contaminate it with negative thoughts about a fellow Jew. Moreover, I don't want to forfeit the golden opportunity of entering the road of Rachamim, where I will reap immeasurable brachos and goodness. Absolutely love it. So basically, when we judge others favorably and think positively of others, we're automatically entering the road of Rachamim, the road of compassion. And as a matter of fact, just thinking alone without even saying it out loud will also will take us to the road of judgment or to the road of Rachamim. So, and this is what we're trying. It's similar to what Rachel Shaul teaches. Same thing, the same concept from Judaism, that we have to think positive. Think positive. Whoever is not married, think positive, you're going to get married. And whoever is not yet pregnant, think positive, you're going to get pregnant. Think positive, parnasa tova. Think positive, the house will get fixed. You'll get a bigger house. You'll live in a smaller house for your kids. Think big. Okay. The Eshes Chayil, we continue. Zera Shimshon on Eshes Chayil. And today we are learning the Eshes Chayil's business model. She is like a merchant ship. From afar she brings her sustenance. Haita ka'aniyot socher mimerchak tavi lachma. She's like a merchant's ships. From afar she brings her sustenance. The Eshes Chayil's business model. The Gemara in Pesachim 50b says, someone who relies on his wife's earnings will not see a sign of blessing. Hamtzafeh l'schar ishto eino ro'eh siman bracha. What does this mean? What kind of financial support are we discussing? So in this particular Gemara, they say, if a man is relying on the wife's parnasa, there's no bracha in it. There's no blessing in it. After I was preparing, I said, you know what? So what's wrong with the system pushing the idea of the guy's learning and the girl is this, working? What if this is what the Gemara says? Doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so listen to what the Gemara is answering to us. It says, this is referring to maskulta. Maskulta is a kind of scale that people used to weigh goods in stores. So it says that a woman would buy and own a scale, and she would go from store to store and say, would you like to use my scale? Whatever, $10, let's say. And the owner would be happy because, let's say, the scale is very expensive. So for nominal fee, she's able to use it. And then she would go on to another store, and then she would go on to another store, etc. So the Gemara says, this is not for Eshes Chayil. This is not befitting a Jewish woman, a Jewish lady. It says she should not be running around in the marketplace, offering her scale to make money for her family, a scale for payment. But this kind of a job will not bring her family financial success. However, if instead of running around with a scale, the Eshes Chayil has a business selling different products and people come to her to buy her goods, then she's praised for her initiative. We see this in the word of Eshes Chayil, which praise her because she makes a cloak to sell, Mishlei 31:24. It is clear that a woman is praised for manufacturing and selling her own goods. When I was preparing for this, I said, wow, my neighbor's daughter, she moved from New York to Colorado. She lives there with her husband and kids. Her husband is a Kollel guy. And she was studying for nutrition in Queens College. And I don't think she even finished it. She got married and she moved. And what did she do? She opened a bakery from her basement. Right now, she has 5 kids already. It's a hard business. She wakes up 2 a.m. She starts working at 3, but she's in bed by 7, 8. She catches up her sleep. And she bought like 2-3 ovens already in the basement. And every oven is working. And she makes sourdough and she makes unbelievable pastry. And everybody buys from her. I was like, wow, this is exactly what they're saying. That people should come to you and you producing something instead of you running around to other people. The Marsha's Guide to Financial Success. When is there a siman bracha in a woman's work? And when is there not? So Zera Shimshon cites the Marsha, who explains that a siman bracha comes from the goods the Eshes Chayil produces and sells. Like I brought an example of a neighbor's daughter. So when she produces it and sells, there is bracha to it. But there is no siman bracha when she is unable to produce her goods herself. And she acts as a middleman, purchasing goods from others and selling them. Imagine, like Amazon business. The Zera Shimshon says, brings the Marsha, there is no bracha from a woman's, if this is what the woman does. Marsha says, why is it so much better when she runs her own business without relying on other people's merchandise? The answer is, when she runs her own business, she's able to exemplify the verse, Kol kevuda bat melech pnima. The glory of a princess is within. Tehillim 44:14. When a woman manages her own business, she's able, for the most part, to remain at home, while clients and customers come to her. Basically, it's sanua. It's modest. You don't run after the money. They come to you. Amazing. The glory of a princess is within. You don't take your business to the marketplace. They come to your marketplace. You have your marketplace.
What if your business is not at home? It's not good.
That's fine. This is. But the clients come to you.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, but I used to run around from patient to patient. It's not good. It's not sanua. Okay. That's why there is no bracha, right?
No, you're helping out patients. Yeah, you're helping people.
Alavai.
Not selling anything.
I'm not. Except for the program.
Services, but...
Okay, next. From far away. So Zera Shimshon says, what does it mean that she brings parnasa, the Eshet Chayil, from far away? Apparently, the woman brings her parnasa comes from olam haba. Above, very high. And it's very hard to bring it down. It comes from very far away. And it says she brings her success. And what does it mean? She will become very successful. The clothing she sews and manufactures will be in such a demand that orders will come from far away and she will have to hire ships to transport her goods to those distant lands. She becomes like a merchant ships. Bechefetz kapeha. Willingly with her hands, she's doing something. This is telling us that the Eshes Chayil, the woman who found the way to the business, while remaining as modest, as tzniusdik as possible, will achieve mega success in her line of work. Danger? Zera Shimshon says, The Gemara in Pesachim 50b relates that there are 4 methods of doing business that do not bring blessing to the businessman. One of these is sending goods overseas. So now, Hashem says, wait a minute. We just said the woman, if she produces something, she's going to be so famous and so in demand that she's going to get to the stage where she has to hire merchants and she has to hire ships to send her merchandise overseas. But here it says one of the things that doesn't bring the blessing is sending goods overseas. So how do you explain that? The problem with shipping goods across the ocean is that the businessman is putting his merchandise in danger. Since there is always the risk that his ship might be lost in a storm, since the business person is taking the risk, he's in essence relying on a miracle, which is why there is no siman bracha in such a venture. So in other words, we cannot rely on miracle if you want to see bracha. It has to come as natural as possible. Then why are we being told that Eshes Chayil will be so successful, that she will become an international businesswoman? So sends her goods across the ocean. Why would you want to be part of the business that relies on miracles? It doesn't see blessings. The Shimshon explains there are 2 ways of sending merchandise across the sea. Now listen to this carefully. In any business, there are the people who take the safe routes, and there are people who take risks. It is the same thing with shipping. There are businessmen who use the fastest ships and send their merchandise to the farthest places. They do this because if they're successful, they will make a lot of money. They choose to play the risk game because the payoff is much greater. As I was learning this, it reminded me of trading. You know how people trade, invest money into certain companies, etc. So there is a way that you could invest into companies that you will end up, let's say, with a 5 to 7 or maximum 10% of return. And more safe, because those companies are well known. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be safe, less risks. Versus, I know people who invest and they really go aggressive. That brings them 30, 40, 50% return. But there's a chance of losing it all, God forbid. So the same mechanics. It says that you should be the merchant that does not take high risks. This is what Zera Shimshon says. Zera Shimshon says, if you want to see bracha, go with the low risk. Okay. How many of us go use ships? But something that it's you could relate to, take something at low risk, not high risk. This is what the Shimshon teaches us. Then you're going to see bracha. From that money will come bracha. That's why it says Eshes Chayil will take a route that is safe.
Esther, what does it mean safe? Means modesty? What do you mean by safe?
Okay, so this particular part, Zera Shimshon was saying that safe to send the merchandise out over the ocean, but since not too many people in today's time use that type of business to generate money, so I was bringing an example that today everything is AI, everything is computer, everything is online. So people use investment businesses. So safe means you might make less money by taking lower risks versus you might make a lot of money by taking higher risks, aggressive. So Rishim says, don't go aggressive. Sleep at night. Take low risk. You'll have bracha. Your family will have bracha from your money. Untouchable goodness from on high.
1 second, Esther, sorry. How does it have to do with modesty then? Taking low risk, meaning don't expose yourself? That's considered low risk? How does it have to do with modesty?
Modesty element that Shimshon was talking about is when a woman is not going around from merchant to merchant offering her a product, let's say scale, as Shimshon said, versus he says you will see bracha as a woman if you want to bring money home by producing something, and let clients come to you and offer you parnasa. You understand, Ronit?
So when a woman does it, so how should she make, what does it mean going out? Like meaning, let's say you go out to work or you go out to advertise yourself on Facebook. That's what it's saying. What does it mean modesty to go out to? I'm trying to understand.
From client to client, according to the Rosh Shimshon, to offer, we just learned that to offer a scale from merchant to go around in the market, it's not so tznius, and it's not so bless you.
Ronita's saying something very, very interesting. She wants to know because she's putting it into a perspective nowadays.
Correct.
Because if you want to advertise yourself, you have to put yourself out there, Facebook, Instagram. So is it modest for you to be in all of that to get your clientele to come to you?
Okay, in today's time, if you are in a line of business where you need to get the word out about you, social media is the way to go. But even that could be done modestly. That could be done modestly. No loud makeup, no loud laughing, no wearing tight clothes that other people will see and get ideas. Even that could be that advertisement, so to speak, that you're trying to get the word out in order to generate more clients for yourself. That's you're not going from patient to patient. You're just throwing it out there. This is in today's world. AI, everything is media, everything is by you going, let's say if you see a patient and if you're helping a patient in the patient's home, it's modest because you're only working with that one particular patient, and it's okay. Ronit. Okay.
Yes, Esther, I'm listening. I got it. Yeah. If you're going to people's home and you don't, that's fine.
As long as you go to a patient's home and it's safe for you to be there in that environment, it's okay. If you feel that it's not safe, then it's not a good place for you to be. You understand?
Yeah. But Esther, you know what? You're right, by the way, because can I share my personal story?
Mm-hmm.
I was struggling with finding a job, and I also wanted to advertise jewelry on internet. And I spoke to a big rebbitzin in Israel about tznius, and she said, "Ronit, you're not gonna have bracha. Don't do it. Don't." And I'm glad I listened to her, and I prayed so hard, and Hashem sent me a very tznius job. Like it's Baruch Hashem with Parnasa, and I love the job now. So it's true. She told me, she's like, "You're not gonna have bracha and Parnasa if you do stuff like that."
Wow.
The Yetzer Hara is so strong. I really wanted to. Parnasa, but it's that tznius pays off. It does.
Baruch Hashem. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Untouchable goodness from on high. The Rosh Shimshon gives us still another way to look at the concept that the person who relies on his wife's earnings will not see a siman bracha from the money. He writes, the pasuk tells us the Eshes Chayil draws down Parnasa from a distance. This refers to the goodness of Olam Haba, the world to come. This idea is found in the Zohar in Parashat B'Shalach. The Zohar quotes the pasuk. Mimirchak tavi lachma. She brings her sustenance from afar. The Rosh Shimshon says, why it says her bread? She brings sustenance, her bread from very far, from Olam Haba. Why doesn't it say she brings the bread? Why it says her bread? It says, let's say she went into trading business, back into modern day example. And she's making money from home. Let's say she learned this business. She's Baruch Hashem, she's successful. She's making money, whatever. It says that she can only use what she needs because she brought this parnasa from Olam Haba. She cannot use, let's say, for like anything extra or luxuries. She can only use it from what she needs. Wow.
I'm sorry.
Could you imagine?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Okay, so here where it says. There is a pasuk in Yeshaya 30:27. It says, Hine Shem Hashem ba mimirchak. Behold, the name of Hashem is coming from afar. The word mimirchak, from afar, seems to refer to things that come from the goodness of Olam Haba, through Hashem's holy name. Mimirchak also is used the same word in the reference to Parnasa. We find the same word mimirchak in reference to Parnasa, telling the Eshes Chayil's financial support is coming from a distance from the highest places through the name of Hashem. So in other words, it's like very Kabbalistic, using Hashem's holy name. Through that, Parnasa is coming. which means she's drawing money from Olam Haba, a woman. Wow. That states Hashem will order the bracha to be with you in your storehouses. The word storehouses can also refer to the rewards that are stored for us in Olam Haba. And it says, since the source of the blessing in these storehouses is emanating from the highest places possible, no one can derail the blessing, not through Ayin Hara and not through Mazikin, spiritual forces. So in other words, it's untouchable. Her parnasa is untouchable. It's going to come to her. Because it comes from so high that nobody can touch it. Not even Ayin Hara, nothing. It's hers. She's bringing it down.
She can't use it for anything other than what she needs.
It says, look what it says. We find still idea in Targum Onkelos, in Devarim 28:8, that he translated the word as Yifaked, Yetzav as Yifaked, which means that by the command of Hashem, the blessing is given as a pikadon. Something that's given to her to watch over, and something that no one will be able to harm. Mazikin are unable to approach this kind of holiness because it comes from the upper worlds. No benefit from the miracles. So again, she's like chefs, and it says it's her bread. Here's the explanation. Instead of saying she brings bread, it says she brings her bread. It refers to the word lachma, her bread, refers to her needs. In other words, it is limited to what she needs. In other words, she should not be using it because she's bringing it from Olam Haba. She can only use it for what she needs.
No brand names. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what it means. No.
Shisrael takes only. It says if it simply said bread, that would imply unlimited quantities. But the Yisrael takes only what she needs, her bread. The Torah wants us to understand that the Yisrael should not hesitate when it comes to enjoying the fruits of her labor, but not in an unlimited way. So in other words, you're working hard, please enjoy it. Please enjoy it, but don't go crazy.
Question: if it's coming from Olam Haba, is she diminishing her share from Olam Haba?
I don't think so. No,
No,
she's not. No, she's not diminishing.
she's not like the benefit from that.
No. She's not diminishing. Okay, there's a beautiful story of Elazar ben Ish Birta. There's a miracle story from the Gemara of Tanis 24:8. There was a man by name Elazar ben Ish Birta who went to the marketplace with money he planned to use for his daughter's dowry. And when there were Askanim, community activists, who were in the market, as soon as they saw this man, Elazar Ish Birta, they knew that as soon as they will find out why they're there, he will offer them his last money, his last penny. And they didn't want to take away because they knew that he himself right now has not a lot, and we don't want to take the last money from him. And they started to run away, so to speak, in the market, away from his eyes. And as soon as this man saw, he said, you know what, let me run after them. What do they need? So he ran after those people. He says, what do you need? He says, no. He says, no, please tell me. They said, we're raising money to marry off a young couple who are both orphans. And after he heard this, he gave whatever money he had in his pocket that he came to buy things for his daughter who was getting married. Instead, he actually gave all the money. Instead, he left only one zuz for himself. With this one remaining zuz, he purchased some wheat and left it in the storehouse. And it says the miracle happened. In the morning when he comes back to the storehouse was full of wheat from that one zuz. There was a bracha. So it says that the daughter comes to the base madrash to tell the father that the miracle happened. It says, he said, the wheat is like hegdesh to you. And you can only have access to the wheat like any poor person. You cannot use it to pay for your entire dowry, because that would be having extra enjoyment from a miracle. So, which means, even if you're making millions, you should only use what you need, because it's as if you're taking away from the miracle. You need coat, b'chavod. You need shoes, b'chavod. You need boots, b'chavod. You need food, b'chavod. But not like extra thing that you don't eat. Hashem gives sustenance to all. Tehillim says, "Noten lechem lechol basar." Since in this case, Ishmael is allowed to benefit from a miraculous event, but only as much as she needs and not without limit. So that is why the pasuk uses the word lachma, her bread. Since the pasuk was referring to miracles that come her way from heaven, she can only benefit as much as she needs and no more. Okay, beautiful story. Okay, there was a beautiful examples given about Esheshael, as well as stories are told, like 3 anecdotal stories that were told by Rabbi Israel Uri. That Shefa, abundance, is drawn down from heaven. First story goes like this. There was a Rebbe, his name was Reb Shaila. Reb Shaila it was a book about Reb Shaila, and the story takes place when this Gadol was only 17 years old, and he was studying with the Lisker Rebbe in Lisk. So this Lisker Rebbe, he would come to the shul and he would give to his congregation, they call it bilkalach, we call it bulichki, and they call it challah rolls. Bilkalach, it's in Yiddish. I said, wow, Russian and Yiddish, very, very close. Bilkalach. So when the Rebbe would give out to every visitor, just like Lubavitcher Rebbe gave $1, so this guy would give challah roll. So when a Yid would come, and he would say, when a Yid eats a bilkalach from me, I'm in his service for all eternity. And it says that this 17-year-old Shaila, who this Rebbe, he was, what's not sneers about selling jewelry online? Somebody's asking. What's not sneers about selling jewelry online? I'll tell you what. Sometimes as women, we tend to put jewelry like this, let's say, and say, look.
If it's on your head.
Or it's on the, let's say on a finger, look at the ring I'm selling, or whatever, like, so the woman's body,
They enjoying them, right?
so we can't, unless you know, there is no showing of the face, no showing of the part of the body, just on the mannequin or whatever. So maybe that would be fine. There is no not sneers. Very good question. Okay, so this guy Shaila, he was 17-year-old. The Rebbe, Rebbe says to him, come, here's the bag, and whoever comes, you give out a bulka, challah roll. And one chassid started to pay attention for 2 things. Number 1, why this boy was chosen, and number 2, how come he keeps giving to all these people and it never ends? And then he paid attention and he noticed the bag was empty. The bag was empty. And as soon as this chassid who noticed it told the other chassid, saying, go look, see this guy who's giving out, he's an assistant of the Rebbe, he's giving out those challah rolls, but there's nothing in the bag. And as soon as he said it and people started to look and notice, the miracle stopped. Exactly. Exactly. So that's why whenever miracle comes your way, don't talk about it. Enjoy it and don't talk about it. Keep it away from people's eyes. You know, my son, when he goes to his Rebbe's last year, previous year, and this year, whenever the Rebbe from Borough Park, they call the kids from the class, at least once a year, they bring the class to the Rebbe's house for whatever, sometimes Hanukkah, sometimes whatever. And my son always tells Mommy, it's so funny. When you come to Borough Park Rebbe's house, outside looks like a plain house, nothing catching attention. But when you come inside, beautiful, love it. It's done on purpose, not to catch attention. And what happens in Jamaica Estates? Every other day they post on the chats, this house got robbed, God forbid, this package got whatever. Because people notice, bracha comes from when you don't see it. When you don't see it. Bracha stays when you don't see it. Well, recently they caught, I don't know if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, they caught a Chinese guy from Brooklyn who was coming to Forest Hills and Jamaica Estates and Fresh Meadows, and he was caught. He was caught with the hammer, with the wires, with the lock pick. He was caught. Chinese guy. He was coming from Brooklyn to Queens to these neighborhoods to rob. Every day he was here. They caught. It was on the news. Anyways, so this was the first story. Second story, in the 1920s, a Yid by the name Chaim Baruch Kleinbart was experiencing a challenge in the area of Parnassa. Rav Chaim Baruch.
Go on, I have a question.
Yeah.
So if a miracle happens to you and it's like God's, why can't you publicize? So all the people who are doing like a short videos, it's like this happened to me and this, so this is not allowed?
Okay, so we're talking about different miracles here. Miracle that happened to you, let's say.
Свой success не говорит?
It depends. If it's not gonna cause Ain Hara, then it's fine. For example, I was once in a shul and the lady said, she got up, it was a few years ago. She got up and she said, I would like to publicize my miracle because she said I was almost dying. I was diagnosed, she said, with something not nice. And she said that God took me out. Literally, I saw God's hand. And I want to publicize, I'm going to say public thank you to Hashem. That was a miracle for me that Hashem did for me. That's a miracle also. But she publicized, I thank you to Hashem publicly. She accepted that Hashem gave a bracha with Rafu Shalem, with miracle. That's a miracle. But when there is a miracle of, bless you, that will cause other people, how come she has it and I don't have it? Not good. Not good, because people will be jealous. It stirs judgment up in Shemayim. We don't want that. That's so true. So there was a guy in the 1920s, Reb Chaim Baruch, and he had difficulty with Parnassa. He comes to the Rebbe. Rebbe says, I recommend you to make a bakery. Go into bakery business. He says, but every Jewish home where I live, they bake their own breads. How can I go into who's going to buy my bread? He goes, don't worry, your bread will have a chayin, we have like a magic touch to it. You'll have parnasa. Again, we're back to what the Rashim Shon teaches us, that if you produce something, there is a bracha to it. So sure enough, he opens the bakery, becomes successful. It's a second story. And a third story, this Rav Chaim Baruch, who had a bakery, his daughter Yiti, she was years later a prisoner in camps during Auschwitz time. And there was a time she was so hungry, she wanted to eat, there was no food. So she would sleep, and in her dreams, she would remember her father's bakery. And now her father would give her, let's say, a challah roll or cake, whatever he baked. And she felt when she woke up, she was full. Even though it wasn't real bread that she ate, it was in a dream. But it says that the satiation, the fullness came from the other world. And they say that this is what he talked about chayin, which is amazing. There's a beautiful story from Baruch Lev's story called "There is no such a thing as a coincidence." There was a guy who lived in Austria, and he needed parnasa, and when he asked the rabbi, he was told to go ahead, open a business. It's totally fine. And what happened was, in the city where he lived, it's the name of the city, the town was called Bad Gaston. It was Austrian Alps, And the name of the guy was Menashe Koenig. He was a very honest, God-fearing man. And there was no Jewish community. There was nobody there. And yet, maybe one or two people, and that's it. And he felt, I need to generate business money. What should I do? And he thought of an idea. People come to visit, tourists, vacations. It would be a good idea to have a place to stay, like a little small hotel inn. And when he filled out all the paperwork, application, everything with the municipality in order to get approval, he thought for sure he's going to get approved. He gets a denial. And he thought, I got denial because I'm a Jew. They don't want Jew to prosper because there was anti-Semitism. And instead, he gets offered by the municipality, if you want to open an inn, you shouldn't open in the center, but open on the outskirts. And he was so upset. Why are they offering me to open an inn on the outskirts? Every Jewish person who comes to travel into Austria, he comes to the center of the city, it would be such an out of the way thing to do, to go and stay in the inn that is out on the outskirts. You want something in the center? Who wants to travel so far away? So he says, you know what? I'll go with Hashem, I'll go with faith, with Emunah. I'm going to take this and go for it. And sure enough, he builds an inn and he runs it. And during the summer, he had a flood of tourists. People would come from all over. And during the wintertime, when it was quiet, that would balance out with parnasa. He said he wasn't rich, but it was enough to feed the family. Then one of the kids of Menashe would go to school, regular public school, and he would hire a Rebbe out of the money that he earned from the inn to come and study with his son at home, because the public school there was nothing there. So there was one boy that went and studied with his son in public school by name Johan. And he looked a little bit very skinny and emaciated. He looked like he didn't have food or whatever. And he later learns and finds out he didn't have much what to eat from. All he had, maybe one piece of bread for the whole day, that boy, Jahan. And so what happened was he comes home, this Menashe's son, and tells his father, and he says, Dad, this classmate of mine, he always comes hungry, and I feel really bad. And he goes, can you, and Mom, when you pack me a sandwich to go to school, can you pack me another sandwich to feed this boy? Because I really feel bad for him. He goes, the family's business, the inn, was not making so much money as to feed another person. But he didn't want to say no to his son. He would go out and he would take away from the parnas of the family to feed another, non-Jewish classmate. So he would send every time a sandwich for his son, and one extra the mom would make for the classmate, Johan. And so it was for years, until they finished school together. After they finished school, this Menashe's son is Jewish, but the other one is not. So then the war broke out. Nazis came in the middle of the night, literally on Shabbat, to this family. They broke the door, SS officers, and they said, right now, under the gun, under the rifles, right now, get up and you're going. And the mother was calm. And meanwhile, the father was already passed away. And the mother was the only one. She and her two sons, they were running the business they quickly got in, because they need parnasa. And now the war broke out. And they come in the middle of Shabbos. And the mother calmly tells this SS officer, she says, I'm sorry, it's our Sabbath now. Come back for us tomorrow. We're not going anywhere. All of a sudden, one of them, there were two SS officers. One of them was screaming and yelling, what do you think? Who do you think you are? The second one said, leave him alone. We'll tell our boss. He will let her know who is the boss. So they left her alone. Meanwhile, as soon as they heard that they're coming after them, right away they told, and meanwhile, the way they built the inn, because it was for years already, and the tourists and the people would come for vacation, they built a shul in the inn, and they had Sefer Torah, and there was a base medrash. And right away, they were able to contact the non-Jewish workers in the inn to pack Sefer Torah, mezuzah, and all the holy books that were present in the inn, in the synagogue. So they packed, and they wanted to know if they could hide it. This way, if they want to burn, or if they want to do something to hurt the Jews, it's going to be safe. So they hid it in a special hiding place. Fine. The next day, these SS people, they didn't forget about them. They said, okay, we'll come back after you. So they left them for 2 weeks. So they had 2 Shabbosim. After 2 weeks, they come after them. They come after them, and under the gun, walk. It was really far because their inn was on the outskirts of the town. And now they had to walk all the way to the center of the town. Now they're walking very long. Finally, they got in, and they go inside. My boss wants to talk to you and see you. The chutzpah you have that you didn't come with us when we came after you 2 weeks ago. You have Shabbos. So they said, they didn't answer back. They come, and as they come to see, there were 2 SS officers, and one of them was like all winding up and loud. And this remaining SS officer said to this first one, he says, why don't you get something? And he basically gets rid of him out of the room. So this remaining SS officer was no other than Jahan. He says, I remember, quietly, he comes to his ear, and he says, I remember all those sandwiches you fed me every day in school. I'll never forget how you saved me from hunger. I will try to help you. That's the most I could do, but listen to me carefully. That day when you guys said no, when our people had to go and get you, that day all your people, whoever we found that were Jews still around in the vicinity, they all were sent to death camps. But because you said no, we couldn't wait for you, and you were all the way out on the outskirts. It was too far away. And they said we're not waiting for them to join them. They just sent with trains people to the death camps. And they said, but they're gonna probably have a court with you, and until then they're gonna put you to jail. Don't argue with them, just go in. This is I'm paying off my debt, he says. That's all I could do. Fine. Meanwhile, as soon as that night when they came, the Shabbos, when they came, they already asked the relatives from South America to send them visas. They wanted to get out from Austria because it was not safe already. And when that day, when this SS officer who was Jahan, the other guy comes, he says, oh, they have to go to jail. No problem. So they all go, 3 of them, they go and they put into this disgusting, smelly cell, prison. They go there. The very next day, they were released. Why? The visas came. 2 weeks span. The visas came, and somehow they got to the hands of Jahan, and Jahan made sure that everything in place, and they said, okay, get out from Austria now. He played a tough guy. At that time, they said there was still order in the town. They were still listening. There was not like a chaos and whatever. There was still order, and they escaped. They escaped to Holland. And the non-Jewish workers, they contacted them. They brought Sefer Torah, mezuzot, and all the holy articles from the inn that they had to Holland, and they established themselves, and they were safe. And they said, now we understood why Hashem wanted us, my father, to build an inn on the outskirts of the town to save us, because if we were in the center, we would be marching to death camp together with the rest of the people.
A lot of news in Austria about this.
Could you believe this? HaKadosh Baruch Hu places everything in place. There is cure even before the problem. That's why we have to. Sorry, I took your time. We have to remember that everything we do is HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always with us.
Amen.
And I don't want to take your time. 100%. And we have to remember that Hashem is with us, and every decision we make is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the bracha we get is also from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the safety we get is also from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we are kind and treat others with kindness, Hashem always pays us back. Thank you all for joining and listening. May Hashem bless you, and we shall continue next week. Bracha and atzlacha.
Beautiful story.